Welcome. Once again, I'm Katherine Ziff, and we're here for Creativity for Entrepreneurial Practice. I'm excited for you to be in this class because I know it will be useful for you, no matter what path you take in life. How can I know that? Because human beings have a natural tendency to overuse whatever thing we're best at doing. So that could be that you're really good at making a pitch, or balancing the books, or being funny, or figuring out someone else's motivations. Whatever skill that is for you, you tend to overuse it. It's like the saying goes, to the person who has a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But everything isn't a nail. Someday, you'll find yourself in a situation that calls for crazy glue, or twine, or maybe even letting the whole thing fall down and starting over. The sad thing is, this is going to happen sooner if you excel at what you're doing and get asked to take on new responsibilities. So whenever this happens for you, your natural tendency is going to be to keep hammering. This worked before. Why isn't it working now? When you get to that point, you need to figure out a way to have new ideas, to try them out, and to figure out what works. That's what this course is designed to give you practice doing. So, here are all the things that you're going to be doing in this class. It is intentionally a heavily experiential class. I've had students who found it life-changing, and I've had students who very much did not find it life-changing. I'm going to do my best to make it life-changing for you, but that's really in your hands. So, what do you need? Or what do you need to be willing to try in order to get the most out of this? It's your openness to experience and your drive for exploration and engagement. Those are more important than other things. They're more important than IQ for achievement with creative topics. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that this isn't going to look for the same for everyone. If you're already an adventure junkie, your new experiences might involve spending some time sitting still. If you are not an adventure junkie, you might choose to do something a little wilder. But it's not going to look the same for everyone. There's an example for this from my old job, which was Vice President of Content, which is exhibits and programs at TELUS Spark, which is the science center just north of the zoo. We have a floor staff there, people who, they're the ones that you would see like wearing the shirt, interacting with visitors. They have a really hard job. And one of the reasons it's really hard is because sometimes people might be walking around looking unhappy with their experience. The temptation is to only talk to people who look happy. We needed our staff to also talk to people who looked unhappy. To either find out that maybe it was something unrelated to their experience or make it better if that was what was needed. How do you get people to try something that might be uncomfortable? I was coaching the staff person who needed to figure this out, who was going to lead a training that was going to encourage people to do things a little uncomfortable. And we ended up hitting on an idea from yoga. We decided, because we had a trained yoga instructor on staff who was willing to lead this, that we would have this team do a handstand and sit in silence for 5 minutes. It is extremely likely that at least one of those things, like think about doing those things, I'm guessing at least one of those makes you a little uncomfortable. So it's a matter of you knowing yourself and being honest with yourself about what will be a new experience for you. And pushing yourself, not to the edge, not to the breaking point, but to the zone where It's going to stretch you without breaking you. And you'll hear more about that. So, this class, to get more into the details, is designed to systematically take you through experiences that will stock your creative toolbox. They're a mix of individual and group projects because life is going to present you with situations where you'll need to be creative on your own and where you'll need to take a team through that process, or where you'll need to be a great member of a team going through that process. You've got 3 major types of projects this term. They are stretch quests, facilitating creative experiences, and completing a design fiction. I expect that these are probably new to you, so I'm going to give you a summary of what they are. This is sort of at the 30,000 foot level. Before you need to start working on these, I will give you information in more detail, and I'll also do it in a format where you can ask questions of me, because I want to be as open as possible to supporting you in doing this work. You should see on Classroom that I've posted the dates that we'll have quote-unquote live class meetings where we'll all be in our socially distanced locations, but we'll be online together and I can answer your questions. So be sure to check those dates and put them on your calendar so that you get all your questions answered. Okay, stretch quests. This is an individual assignment. This is one you're going to be doing on your own. And this is building your habit of trying new things. Over the course of the term, we've got, about 12 weeks of class, and for about the middle 9 weeks, you need to do 3 new things a week for that whole time. It'll be a total of 27 new things. You'll do these in batches that are 3 weeks long. And at the end of 3 weeks, you will turn in a write-up. I've posted the write-ups to Classroom. Take a sneak peek at them. You'll get a chance to ask me questions about them. But just know that you'll be doing 3 challenges a week. Most of them you get to design. And every 3 weeks, you'll turn in a summary listing what you did and reflecting on one of the quests. You're also going to need to connect that quest to the class material, the lectures and the readings. This is how you're showing me that you're engaging with that content. The next one is facilitating creativity. What is going to happen with these is I am going to train you in relatively small groups to lead a creativity technique, maybe a kind of brainstorming, maybe something else. Then you are going to go back to the group that you're working with on your design fiction, which I'll talk about next, and you're responsible for leading that exercise with your team. You'll need to document what you did, get some screen grabs, get a list of the ideas you came up with, and you'll also need to reflect on how it went. And you'll turn those things in. You'll be doing this twice over the course of the term, so you can see there are 2 due dates for that. I'll also have a time when we will meet and you can ask me questions about that. And finally, there is your design fiction. The design fiction is a team project where you're going to imagine the future. You're going to take an industry, let's say dentistry, because I've never had a team choose dentistry. So hopefully I'm not taking away a topic that you were counting on doing. You will need to think about what might be coming 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now in dentistry. Think about technological change. Think about societal change. And first, you're going to imagine your design fiction has 3 phases. In phase 1, you're picturing a different future. And you are going to imagine this future, do some research on which you will base this future, and communicate that future to me. Next, You're going to come up with what problems might show up in this future. And finally, you'll need to choose one of those problems and come up with a relatively predictable solution, a more daring solution, and a way, way outside the box solution. And again, before each phase of the design fiction, I'll give you more detail, and I'll also hold a session when you can ask questions about it. But I wanted to give you the 30,000 foot view so you can sort of have a sense of what's going on in the term and think about the kinds of commitments that you'll need to make to succeed in this class and to be a great productive team member for your team. If I were doing this design fiction with dentistry, I might think about something like there are really interesting things happening in material science, and there are really interesting things happening with nanobots and nanomedicine. And I also know that humans have always been fascinated with animals, and humans have always been fascinated with supernatural creatures. So maybe I'm going to imagine a future where materials science and nanomaterials and nanobots are making it possible for humans to look more like other creatures than they could before. And the way that affects dentistry is that we've got some people choosing to have teeth like shark teeth or saber-toothed tiger teeth. And that's something that dentists and orthodontists are going to have to figure out how to work with, especially if they want to be entrepreneurial and build up their business in a changing cultural landscape. Okay, that would be part one. Imagining a future where people get to look more like animals using advances in science. For the next phase, I need to think about possible problems that will come up in that landscape. Maybe toothbrushes need to be redesigned. Maybe there's a change to the way that teeth show up on x-rays. Maybe when we can have Stampede again, the people who are selling, fried food on a stick are going to have to think about how to make that work for people who have really different dentistry. Then for the last phase, I would pick one of those problems and come up with a relatively predictable, a more daring, and a way outside the box solution. If I'm thinking about hygiene, I might have a relatively predictable solution, which is like a toothbrush that's differently shaped. A more daring solution, I don't know, maybe all of your teeth can come out like dentures and you soak them overnight. And then a way outside the box solution, if I'm thinking right now off the top of my head, I think about, you may have seen in nature documentaries, those fish that they're called cleaner wrasses, I believe, with a W, wrasse with a W, if you want to look it up, who other fish swim up and open their mouths, and these fish swim in and eat all the little bits that are stuck to the bigger fish's teeth. So my way outside the box solution would be maybe there's a nano pet or a little robotic pet that's like a cleaner wrasse, but maybe when you're watching TV or playing a video game, you pop it in your mouth and it crawls around and eats all the plaque and makes sure that your teeth are clean. I have to admit that's slightly grossing me out as I think about it. That's on the outside of the box end of the spectrum, but those are the kinds of things that you might think about. Or you might think about something totally different. That would be even more exciting. Okay. That's the big overview. I'm gonna, just on this last slide, go into a little more information on your very first stretch quest, because this is one where I am choosing the quest for you. You get to do 2 others next week that are your design, but this is one I'm choosing. And that is for you to make a brief, 1 to 3 minute long video that will introduce you to me, because I really want to get to know you. I'm going to really miss getting to see you in person in the classroom this term, and I don't want you to be anonymous. I want you to be real specific people to me. So you're going to introduce yourself, show us something about yourself. It could be a skill you have. It could be a collection that you have. The door is wide open. Let us know what you're looking for in a team and what you could contribute to a team. Maybe you're the proofreader, and if you get your hands on everything before it goes in, all the citations will be right, all the commas will be in the right place. Maybe you're the team cheerleader. That is important. That is a real role. Maybe you're the person who makes sure that everyone feels heard. That's also super important. Maybe you're the one who makes sure that you stay on task, or who says, I'm going to make the list of everything that we need to do so we make sure we don't miss anything. Say whatever's true for you. And then I want you to add a creative spice. So, as I said, you could show off a skill or a quirk, or you could pretend you're a Martian anthropologist and choose any everyday object and explain what it's used for, but get it completely wrong. So if I were being a Martian anthropologist right now, I might pick up a fork and I might explain how this is a really elaborate kind of a key, and that if you just wiggle it into the doorknob the right way, it will unlock the door. That it's much more, it's like 4 times as secure as a regular key is, because it's got 4 tines instead of just one thing going into the lock. That's just one example. There are a million ways to get this right. So, your video is due before midnight on September 13th. Please submit it to me on Classroom. I'll make a place for you to turn it in. If you have any problem with that, let me know. I'll keep an eye out until around 10 p.m. on the 13th, so don't wait to do it the last minute unless you're really experienced with Classroom and you're sure that you won't have any problems turning it in. I'm also going to ask you to post it. I will make a discussion for this in Classroom. And I'm going to ask everyone to post a link to that so you can watch each other's videos and submit your requests for who you would like to be on a team with to me by, again, midnight on September 15th. I'm looking for teams of 4 or 5 people. And these will be the teams that you do your design fictions with. These will also be the teams that you'll send one person from your team to each creativity technique training. So if I have 8 teams in this class, I'll get 8 people, one from each team. I'll teach you how to do a creativity technique. Then you'll go back to your team and lead them in that technique to do part of your creative work for the design fiction. I hope that makes sense. I realize it may not. I welcome your emails. I also welcome if you think it's a question that might be relevant for people more than just you. Please feel free to use the conversation stream on Classroom. I will also watch for and answer questions there. That's it for today. I will see you soon. Bye.